120 some odd. That's a great list of folks here. Welcome back to the Symphonic Masterclass series. For those of you that have been here with us before, we've had some excellent and expertly delivered deep dives into some of that amazing back end and tool platforms that our partners have to offer for you that really help you utilize those platforms in the best way possible. We are particularly excited about this one. I am super happy to welcome our friend Jess Messier to the series. Jess is the head of TikTok indie label partnerships for North America, and she's been our main contact for years, helping us and thereby you all navigate all things TikTok. So thank you so much for being here, Jess.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me. Welcome you all. Hello from LA for those of you that are on the West Coast. Excited to be talking to you guys about TikTok. So
Right.
we're going to go into, Michael, do you want to tell them kind of what we're going to be
Yeah,
talking
so we're just
about?
gonna we're gonna start off. Jess is gonna give us kind of a deep dive into the brand new TikTok for Artists platform that just launched, which has amazing tools for you. And then we're gonna open that section up to some Q&A for you. There is a Q&A box. So if you do have questions that are relevant to what you're seeing here in this presentation, please put them there rather than the chat. It helps us kind of decide between the two of them and present those to Jess for answers. And then she's just going to open up and share just a number of the new features that they've made available to artists lately. And so really excited. Use that Q&A box and we'll be answering the ones we can live and then putting the rest of them to Jess as the opportunity presents. And I will just go ahead and mute off and hand over and very psyched. Get to it.
Sounds good. Well, thank you guys so much for tuning in. And like Michael said, we're going to start off with TikTok for Artists, but just a few things that I wanted to let you guys know about. When this is over, you're going to be getting an email from Symphonic with the info, a deck, this deck, if not this deck, another deck that even has more information in it. So again, if you miss something here, you will be getting some tools after this. I will send also some links to things that you'll be hearing me talk about. If I say you can click this link and apply here and do that, I will be sharing those links as well. So, and then also I will be sharing a survey. This survey, I'm not looking to collect your data. I really am just looking for feedback from you all who are using this features. There's going to be questions around TikTok for Artists, also our new feature bulletin board, which we'll talk about. We would just love to kind of get your feedback on it, what you like, what you don't like, what you wished we would see, what you think is helpful, what you think is not helpful. Any of those areas that you would like to fill out, we would love to get your feedback. You guys are the ones that are using these features day in and day out. And TikTok for Artists and bulletin board are our top priorities through the end of 2025 into 2026. These are number one things on our roadmap for music and music artists. So with that being said, let me jump into it and let's go. And like Michael said, I will be pausing after this TikTok for Artists section to take questions. If it's operational questions, we can't always answer all of those on here, but just know we will be providing some forms and things for you to fill out if you are having operational issues. But also hopefully some of this information I share will help you how to fix that stuff. So anyway, with that being said, let's jump into it. All right, so just wanted to kick off with this information that I think is just really important for you guys to know as artists. Luminate did a music impact report this year, and they basically, talking to a number of music industry, artists, managers, labels across all different areas. And basically, what has come out is that TikTok is still considered one of the number one music discovery platforms especially of this younger generation. So with that, TikTok is a key driver for music discovery, monetization, and chart success. This is what is definitely, this is what they found in the report that came out from Luminate. And just to kind of give you some idea and some examples of some impact of where TikTok is helping artists, and a lot of these stats are really affecting indie and independent artists for sure, but 84% go viral on TikTok first, which I think is really important to know, which is why, starting pre-release campaigns on TikTok, testing out different sounds on TikTok can be really helpful for your release. And over 1 billion tracks have been saved from TikTok. That continues to grow as TikTok to DSP, which we will talk about, continues to become more of a main focus for us at TikTok. As of right now, we have every DSP on board. And then 74% of users are more likely to discover and share new music than any other short form video user. So I think it's just really important to know that there is so much discovery that is happening on TikTok still. It is still the place where people come, they hear a sound, they find a new artist, something pops up, they share it with a friend. To see that set, I just wanted you guys to see that as independent artists, to see 74% of users on TikTok are more likely to discover and share new music. So if you are getting discouraged, if you were wondering why, you're putting time into TikTok and maybe you're having, not seeing the results, I want you to think about this. The discovery is really there for the audience on this platform. And then the other thing, which I think is important to know, because obviously TikTok is important, but what we're also all looking for is streams on our singles and albums on the DSPs. So I think this is really important to know, but 11% week over week streaming growth rate when you see TikTok artists leaned in on this, on this platform compared to 3% for other artists. So again, it is impacting streaming, and I believe this number has gone up over 2025 as we've really leaned into this part of the industry. So with that being said, let's jump into what we're here for, and that's to talk about our new feature that we launched this year, TikTok for Artists. This is our dashboard. So it's very similar and is looking to serve similar purposes to, say, your Spotify for artists or your back end of other partners. So this is, again, I think is more comparable to a Spotify for artists, but this is our TikTok for Artists dashboard. And we launched this a couple months ago. And just to kind of go through a few things, and on this, you see two different views, two high Johns. Those are two different views of TikTok for Artists. We have a label view and we have an artist view. So I just want to be very clear. I know the majority of you on this call are artists, but in case you have your own independent label, or maybe at some point you sign to another label that distros through Symphonic or uses another distro, there's two views. So Symphonic is seeing a label view and you guys as artists are seeing an artist view. So there are key differences in these views. Artist view, what you are able to see as artists, have a lot more data, which is why people on the team or people from Symphonic might be asking if they can request to have artist view. So just to give you some context, on Artist View, you're able to see much more. You're able to see much more data about your fans. You're able to see more engagement stats around TikTok for artists and how your songs are performing. On Label View, the label is only able to see song data. They can only see what's happening with the tracks that they are distributing. Are they increasing? Are they decreasing? But on the artist view, you're able to dive in a little bit deeper. You're able to see fans. You're able to see top cities. You're able to see location-based things. So that stuff is just very important. So that is why you might have people on your team wanting to request, including your managers, wanting to request artist view access. Artists are able to give 20 people artist view access. The reason this is the case is because this is really to protect artist data. So as artists move around to different labels and distros throughout their career, this allows you to control who's able to really see your back end and not give anyone an upside. You're able to really control that narrative, control who has access to your deeper data. And from the label distro standpoint, again, they will only be able to see your song data. So I hopefully that helps people understand, or also helps you understand why people might request that. So again, you're able to give 20 people access. You can remove and add them as you wish. You control that. And then also you have one editor and one artist access. So you're able to have two additional people. So a lot of times the manager has like editor access, TikTok for artists, and then you obviously have your artist login. So just wanted you to have that. Just wanted you to have that purview. Feel free to ask any questions. Now, in both of these views, you are able to set up your pre-release, pre-save campaigns. So we'll get into that a little bit, but these are only for albums and EPs. We are not setting up single pre-saves, but you can set up your album, EP, mixtape. If you have a countdown clock on Spotify, you are able to set this up. So you need pre-save, you need a countdown set up on Spotify, and then you need pre-ad set up on Apple. You need both of those links. Add those into this, and then your pre-save will be set up. So we'll go through a little bit more on that in a second, but you, again, label and artist view can do that themselves. Also, you can now sort music tab issues within TikTok for artists. We'll go through that as well. You can apply for an artist account in TikTok for artists. To note, this is available globally. So all territories, if TikTok is in your territory, you should have access to TikTok for artists. If you are saying, I can't get access, I've clicked on the link, it won't let me log in, my assumption would be is that you are not considered a certified artist, which is like basically you don't have a TikTok, you don't have a music tab. So we'll go into that. So that is what I said. Artists must have a certified or an artist account to have access. And again, the way you check that is, do I have a music tab? If you do not have a music tab, you need to set that up first so you can have an artist account, and then you'll be able to access into TikTok for artists.
And
Okay.
Jess, we're seeing a couple questions about that in the Q&A too. Is that something you're going to go over in the next section if they
I
have issues
am.
setting that up? Okay, great.
Yep. And yeah, we can, if there's any questions around it, we can definitely jump into it.
Perfect.
Okay, so TikTok for artists, this is how you set up your pre-release campaign. So you're going to log in, you're going to click pre-release. A lot of this is very straightforward. I know a lot of you have already tried this. Again, we will be sending you these step-by-step instructions. You're going to add the album source, so the Spotify and Apple link. Very important to add both. You're going to select the campaign duration. This is where I see the most mess ups. A lot of people mess up the dates. Sometimes it defaults. What you want to do is, if it is live, you want to make sure the duration, the duration of the campaign is set up for today. So it starts today and then ends on album release day. So usually the end date will automatically fill in, but where I see the most mess ups is on the date that it should go live. So there's a lot of people who will select, or on default date will select, and then I'll get emails saying, hey, I submitted this, but I don't see it live. And I'll go in, I'll be like, oh, the date for live was set to like October 15th. So just make sure, if you don't see it live, they should go live within 24 to 48 hours. So we do have to do an approval on our back end. So again, it's not an automatic. Once you submit, give it 24 to 48 hours and you should see it live within your profile. So again, promote, and then, make sure that you are promoting your pre-release. If you want any kind of call to action, the call to action is link in my bio, because that is where the pre-release link will live. So you don't want to say click the link below, because with TikTok pre-saves, not everyone will see the link in their FYP. It's an algorithmic thing. We'll talk about it in a later slide. But so I always say, if you want a call to action to pre-save, on TikTok, just say, click my link in bio, pre-save now. And then again, as a user for pre-save, I am able to pre-save to those platforms. Cool. All right, so here's a couple other things I wanted to mention in TikTok for artists. Here are some issues that are able to be resolved now in TikTok for artists. A lot of it is the music tab. You're able to resolve a lot of these issues, add songs to your music tab, remove songs, correct the song link in the sound detail page. The wrong artist is listed. I know Symphonic has their own system about you guys being able to submit, but you're also able to submit yourself directly within TikTok for Artists. I'll show you that on the next page. Again, we will send that link out about how you're able to do this yourself. If you run into any issues, Symphonic definitely, they send over daily, issues that people have. So we try to get these sorted. But I did want you guys to know that you can do it on your side. So a lot of music tab things, if you have the music tab, songs are not there, wrong songs are there. Those kinds of things you're able to now sort. And then again, you can also apply for an artist account, unlink an artist account, transfer or reclaim an artist account. So all of these can be solved in TikTok for Artists. And the number one question is, where do I submit these issues? And there is a help center within TikTok for Artists. Select contact us, help center, fill out the form, and you should hear back from our team. For anyone from Symphonic that might be on this call, you guys do have your own web form that you're able to submit these issues for your artists. So I will send that over to Symphonic team. I know a lot of you guys have this already, but I did just want to mention that for the label, we have your own form that you can submit, but for artists, you're able to go into the help center and contact us. Just so you know, both go to the same team. So it's not like the label has some special access. It's going to the same team to help sort these issues. So I did want everyone to know that. But and you need to give this time. We get so many of these submissions. I tell everyone, please give us 3 to 5 days on sorting these music tab issues. We try to turn them around faster, but knowing that these are coming in globally, if you could only imagine the volume that comes in with these kinds of things. So wanted to just mention, please give us 3 to 5 days. If you have not heard back, that is the time to reach back out, say, hey, I filled out the form. Can you please help? And then we do try to sort these best that we can. So I want to go into this section about the artist account, and then I'll pause and I'll take questions. But because you guys were asking about the music tab and the artist account, this is what the TikTok artist account, you can apply directly in app. This link will be in all the resources that you get, but you can apply directly in app. You cannot apply on desktop. It has to be an app. And you can apply also in TikTok for Artists. So just know this is, we call this an artist account. This is what you will see. The number one thing I look for, if you're like, do I have an artist account? I don't know. The number one thing is, do you have a music tab? Do you have the little music symbol? This is the things that you get if you have a TikTok artist account. This is extremely important for everyone to have, but you get the artist tag, as you can see, these like the red circles, you get the artist tag underneath your artist name. You get the follow button next to your name when your sound pops up. The music tab is the one that is the most noticeable. So you have the little music symbol on your profile with all of your sounds there. You get the by artist feature on your sound. This is something I don't see a lot of people using. We'll get into it, but pinning your video to the number one spot on your official sound. And then you also will get the new release tag next to your sound when it gets delivered. So that new release tag stays up for, I believe it's 12 days is what's considered new. So that is, if you're one of the biggest things that we see is that someone already claimed their music tab. They go on, they tried to claim it, they're in, they tried to click on it, and it doesn't happen. This is the perfect time to reach out to Symphonic. This is what they reach out to me about often. If you can't sort it in TikTok for Artists yourselves, Symphonic is definitely, this is something that we try to work on together to sort, because I know it can be frustrating. So if you try to go in, you can't get your own music tab, you try to do this in TikTok for Artists, you can't figure it out or it doesn't work, this is Symphonic will be able to help you sort this, because obviously having a music account and having a music tab is very important, because every new feature we launch, the only way you get access to our new music features is having an artist account. So in case you just to say and throw your hands up and say, screw it, I don't care. And then these new features roll out and you wonder why you can't do them. That is why. So with that being said, let's pause there and take any questions.
Yeah, Laura, if you've rounded up some, feel free to do so as well. I saw a couple things. Folks were asking about geo restrictions where TikTok for artists might be available. There was a question from Belgium, one from Indonesia.
Yeah,
Accessible
there's a
everywhere.
couple territories where it is not available. I will send over a list, in the follow-up documents with all of the available territories, but it's I forget. I believe it's like 90%, but yeah, I don't believe it's 100%.
Okay, right on. Um, I think you touched on this a little bit, but can you talk a little bit more about like what qualifications there are for getting a TikTok for artists account, what levels you need to reach, whether it's numbers or sounds created, etc.
Yeah, so everyone, there is no requirements for getting a TikTok for Artists account. Everyone is able to have a TikTok for Artists account as long as you have an artist account, if that makes sense. The only thing you need to have an official artist account is a song delivered to a DSP. So followers doesn't matter, but I do tell people a post or two definitely helps make it look like an official account. So if you haven't posted, I would do a post or two. But all you need, the only requirement is one song delivered to a DSP to be able to get to be verified as an artist account.
Right on. A couple people asking if all the functionality is the same between desktop and mobile for TikTok and artists. Can you do everything that you can do in both places?
Yes, you can. I always tell people we are doing a lot more on we focus on mobile, but for TikTok for artists, there's a lot of focus on desktop because obviously from a label perspective, we're on desktop all day. So yeah, there is still it's the same view on mobile and on desktop.
Okay. And the only other one that I saw there's a lot of questions in here that are not directly relevant to TikTok for artists, so I'll kind of hold on those until you go through your next section, see
Yep.
if some of those might get answered organically, but not specific to TikTok for artists, some questions about rights issues when trying to promote, pay to promote,
Oh.
use them in specific types of content. Not that we need to address the rights issues here. Those are going to be one-offs for sure. Each individual one is different, but can those fixes be sought after in your TikTok for artists account?
It cannot,
Okay.
unfortunately. We're not there yet, but that would be a really great suggestion in the feedback form that I send over for you to add that in that you would like. We are trying to get to more problems being solved in TikTok for artists. It is very helpful for the team to hear what you view and what would be the most helpful for you to see and for you to be able to submit. So please fill that section out when you get the survey because that's the perfect time to let the team know what would be helpful for you, which I think it would be some of those. I will hit on, Michael, one of the things that you did ask about is about the promo tool. So there's a lot of questions that usually come in that like, hey, I tried to use the promo tool and I go in and I'm not able to use it, my song, whatever. You're using the wrong tool. For whatever reason, it's the wrong, you can't just use the quick promo. Hold on, let me find my notes on this because I have a note on this. We'll come back to it in a second, but you're using the wrong tool, so I'll come back to it at the end.
Perfect. Yeah, similarly, if other folks are using, is there a way to claim and make sure that it's connected to the official sound within TikTok for artists? If they see a number of creates on a sound, just to make sure that they're getting credit for it.
Yeah, so that's the thing. So yes, if you see a UGC sound, that is not something that you as an artist can do. That is something that Symphonic can do on your behalf. So they're able to go in and add that contains music by tag. So I know they do this often because I see this on a lot of the releases through Symphonic. But yes, if you see a UGC sound that's using your sound, which obviously happens often, Symphonic will be able to add that contains music from tag. That links it all on the back end and allows things to count for charting. So when you see or have that contains music, that is our solution to connecting the UGC, the unofficial, and the official sound together. So that has been done correctly if you have the contains music from tag. And again, it will count towards charting.
Right on. Yeah, and I just wanted to see if that was something that was changing over to TikTok for artists. So that's great. And you can do that through our support email where you ask your other regular questions. There's also a blog post on exactly how to do so in our knowledge base too. So Laura, did you see anything else that looked super relevant to this that I haven't asked yet?
I think not. I'm deep in the Q&A.
Well, let's go ahead and bounce to whatever more you want to share with us.
Cool.
Some of the great
Sounds
stuff.
good. And if anyone has any other questions, I will still answer them at the end, TikTok for artist questions. So don't worry. But all right, let's keep it flowing. So I talked about this briefly, but I did just want to remind everyone about our add to music app feature. This slide is already outdated as we have more DSPs added. YouTube Music was recently added. SoundCloud is also an option. So this add to music app is a huge priority for us Q4 into 2026. So as you can see, the data that was coming out was there's music discovery. We want to provide a solution for that. Your song pops up. We want to provide a button for them to click to add the sound. So if you have seen this, you know how easy it is. I do this all the time. If you don't see this button, what happens with the algorithm, it will only show it to you so many times within a session, and then it just will disappear because it thinks that maybe you don't want it. Once you set up your DSP, your preferred DSP, for me, I'm a Spotify girly, so I'm set up to Spotify. Once you set up your DSP, you only do it once, connect it, and you're done. And now every time I hit add, it just adds into my Spotify library. So it's a very easy entry point. Again, in the stat from earlier this year, over 1 billion songs have been saved because of this feature, and this is continuing to grow. So this is really, just wanted you all to know about this. Something we're really pushing. You'll see these features within the FYP, and then you'll also see the add to music app button in the sounds page. So wanted to let you know those two entry points, a very big priority for us. So another feature I wanted to mention for you all that I really feel is underutilized, and I think for artists that are, really trying to build their fan base, the fan spotlight is such a great tool, especially around release. And again, I do think it's very underutilized. So this is an example, Billie Eilish example. So what you're able to do is you go into your profile, you just have to enable this feature. Again, if you have the music tab, you will have this feature. And then you're able to choose from, I think you're able to choose up to 5 videos that use the official sound, and it pins to the top of your profile. So you see in a slide, in the example 3, on the artist profile page, on Billie Eilish's profile page, those 5 videos are literally at the very top. And as a fan, the thing that's super cool about that is the fans get a notification that Billie Eilish added, and so you see that at number 4, but Billie Eilish added your video to her fan spotlight. So from a fan perspective, that's huge. And also you can change these out daily. So, just think, if people are using your sound, if you have a song that's moving, if people are, taking time to create videos to your sound, this is a perfect thing to do. So I love doing this around release. I think this is super fun, but please take advantage of this. I think it's a very underutilized tool. I just think a lot of people don't even know about it. So I wanted to mention it to you as artists that are developing. I think this is like giving a fan a backstage pass. This is that kind of interaction with them in this kind of era. So just know it's a really big way to connect with your fans. And again, the notification to the fans that they are pinned is just a super great way to kind of highlight people that are using your sound. And also, if you're trying to create a trend, this is a great way to call it out. You pin 5 videos of people doing something very similar. It's very clear what you're looking for people to create. So the other thing I just want to remind you, I'm sure you all know this, but just a reminder that you're able to pin your sounds on your music tab. So I always recommend that you pin your most recent tracks or your most popular. It's completely up to you, but just know you can pin your current single to the top. As you can see, it will then have a highlighted by. So again, whether it's your newest track or your most popular track, make sure you are taking advantage of this, because if people do come to your music tab, it's always great to have the biggest one at the top. I did just want to mention, for those of you on tour, for those of you watching from other territories, this is just a North America tool as of right now. But we have, if you are on tour and you are selling tickets through Ticketmaster, Access, Event.im, and Eventbrite, you can link your tickets in a TikTok post. So a great way you're posting, or maybe you have tickets that you're not sold out when you go to that city, hey, click here, buy tickets, that kind of thing. So it's a great way. If you are on tour, if your tickets are selling through any of these portals, you should be using this feature for people to purchase tickets. It's a great feature. Like I said, if you are on tour, please use this. But again, just a reminder right now, this is currently for North America. The other feature that we launched earlier this year, just like you can on other platforms, you can share directly from your DSP to TikTok. So you can share from Spotify, Apple, I believe SoundCloud. You are able to share from those DSPs right to your TikTok. The way that you can in other platforms. So again, this is just a great post. Your song is out. Maybe it's been out for a while. Share that. It's a great way, again, utilizing these features the app loves. It loves the more of these buttons and the more things you use, the more it likes it. But I think, this third page, using that, throwing it up as a green screen, a great way to let people know your song is out. So in case you didn't know you could do this on TikTok, I am letting you know, not only can you share to TikTok, but, you can also share and message to friends and other places. So wanted you to know about that.
I love hearing you say that because we have said over and over again, guys, these things that you're learning when we have these master classes, the system loves you more if you use the tools. It like really genuinely does help. It's good
It
stuff.
really does. It's I know people wouldn't like who build, working on the back end wouldn't like for me to say it, but I tell people the more buttons you press in the app, the more it likes it. And I know you'll hear that, but it's just very true, right? So using these features, it just prioritizes those posts, and the more you can use them. And also sometimes, you're just struggling. You're like, what am I going to post again today? Am I going to do it again? Yes. And here's another way. You can just post it, you can share, you can use it as a green screen, all those kinds of things. The app really loves that kind of interaction. So we talked about album pre-save. So I do just want to go into a little bit of detail around this. You can just see where it lives in case maybe you haven't seen it or haven't seen it in your territory. So TikTok, it's right now, it's with Spotify and Apple Music. You can set this up directly. Again, we are not doing singles. We are only doing albums, pre-saves, mixtapes. So you need the countdown. And then you need your pre-ad from Apple to be able to set this up. This is where you'll see it. It says 3 different spots. You'll see it in the FYP when you are scrolling, the pre-save button. Again, you just click that. It saves directly into, we have really contributed. The pre-save stats that we are getting are really amazing. I mean, I'm getting numbers, and these are from indie artists, right? And artists that haven't had a trending sound, that are, very similar, I'm getting, you were 50%, 70% of pre-saves, you contributed 8,000 pre-saves to, for this artist. The numbers have just been really amazing. And it's, again, the thing that I've been loving to see is it's not just for artists that are having these trending moments. It's for artists that I'm like, really? That is, like, good for you. Like, you have found your wheelhouse. So I do want you to know, I think it's a really impactful to be, doing a post or two reminding people, pre-save in my bio for sure. The other place you'll see the pre-save feature is for any of the sounds that are live, any of the official sounds that are live that are on the pre-save, those official sounds will have the pre-save button on their sounds page. And then again, it will be linked in your bio.
And that can also be set up through Symphonic when you set the initial ingestion of music and all that information up that you're delivering it early to SoundCloud or to TikTok. Yeah.
Yeah, amazing. So yeah, so you can set that up, send it through Symphonic, and you can do it yourself if you forgot to set it up. So just know both ways if you have the links, I should say, if you have the links. One thing I did want to share with you all is this is something we're starting to roll out globally. This is a brand new feature in beta. So you will start to see this very soon. Starting, I believe it's starting in Europe and the UK, and then slowly over the next couple of weeks, the rest of the world will start to see these. But these are our music cards. So you're going to start to see these pop up in your FYP to promote the adding of the song or to pre-save a song for these. So we're going to start selecting these artists based on stats on the back end. So we're going to be selecting these artists based on how many clicks, the the artists that are seeing the most amount of pre-saves for a single, they're going to see these song cards. The artists that are seeing the most amount of pre-saves for an album, they're going to see these song cards. So we are going to start pushing these out more again, and this should just show you this being a big priority for us in Q4. This should also be an indication to you what a top priority this is for TikTok, really pushing and connecting your fans to your music. So again, obviously there's a lot around, why do I need to be on TikTok? All of these, making these videos, and that, obviously looking at it from a marketing perspective, super huge, but also looking at it from a streaming, connecting the people that are seeing your content to your sound, to your album is a big, big priority for us moving into 2026. So wanted to just share this with you. Again, brand new, hot off the presses that we're rolling this out, starting this week. So another new feature I wanted to make sure we discuss and go into. Oh, sorry, Michael, go ahead.
Nothing at all. I'm just excited.
Okay.
I'm excited, Jess. I'm excited.
Awesome. So another new feature I wanted to share with you. This is a brand new feature as well, still in beta for us. In beta globally, but meaning in beta means that it's not rolled out. You can't just get this feature yourself. We do have to safe list you. So you will need to reach out to Symphonic to be safe listed for bulletin board. But with that being said, this is a top priority for TikTok. So our two top priorities, Q4 2026, TikTok for artists, adding more features, adding things more operational, getting feedback from you all. And then bulletin board, we're going to continue to be adding to this. So bulletin board is TikTok's broadcast channel. It's our version of a broadcast channel. It's again, really looking at connecting those fans. You see this theme that's growing into this next year, but really looking to connect your fans and you directly. So here is an example, but I am going to switch. I'm going to switch to another deck really quick. Give me 1 second. Okay. So I just want to show you, let's kind of go through bulletin board a little bit more so you can see where bulletin board lives. So looking at this example, it lives on the profile page. So you see it says Amos family. That is his bulletin board on the profile page. You click into it, you can see then what it looks like. And then you see the third feature. So you can post messages directly to your fans, talk about music releases, tour updates. Some people are using it like if you have someone that's a part of your crew that maybe all your fans know, they're letting that person take over bulletin board. So if everyone knows tour manager Joe or photographer Sam or whatever, maybe they should be, they're posting from your bulletin board and putting updates in and things like that. So, there's a great way to kind of utilize this. If you are in a band, if there's more than one member, you each taking turns or taking days, on bulletin board, posting messages from each member. I think it's a really great way to like lean in to this. So also just want to show you a couple different use cases, people that have been using this well, but you have someone using, doing, music spotlight, sharing their songs in, sharing the latest releases. Fans are then able to play and save the track directly to their streaming platform. All of those things that we just talked about, they're able to do it directly in bulletin board. So great place to be sharing, your single when it drops. Share it to bulletin board, let them add it to their DSP. Also, people are putting in their merch drops. We'll talk about TikTok Shop at the very end. But if you have any merch drops, or even if you're linking out, even if you don't have anything on TikTok, but you have your merch elsewhere, link that out. Let them know that that's available. Also, you can share your TikTok posts. So you have certain artists that are just literally posting their TikTok posts, when their lives are happening, into their bulletin board. And then, also sharing just exclusive updates, behind the scenes content, that kind of stuff. So right now there's only one bulletin board. Again, new features that will hopefully be rolling out. You'll be able to have multiple bulletin boards, maybe by different cities, different countries, VIPs, behind paywall, different things like that. So obviously, your benefits. It's really getting into those direct fans, being able to have a higher conversion rate, getting people directly over, adding your song, letting them know those direct messages and things that either A, you want them to know, or B, for them to just be aware of. And you can really control the narrative around that stuff. So, and then, obviously also you really get to see some really great feedback, because anyone on your bulletin board is a really dedicated fan, right? So something else to mention is when someone adds your bulletin board, if they add or become a member of your bulletin board, it's an automatic profile follow, which is amazing, right? So just want to kind of show you this user journey, artist view situation. So you're able to see, you can create one bulletin board. The music tab entry is like the number one way that like the majority of people are, it has a frequency cap. So I think that that's really important to know. Each user can only see it limited amount of times, and then the board can only be edited once per day. So just a couple things for you to note. You can create new chats, create your board name, add the description, but again, you can only, the board name can only be edited once per day. So then you can see how, just as a couple other things that you can see, if at some point you decide you do not want this bulletin board anymore, you hate this, you never want to see it again, or maybe you just launch it and you're like, oh, I want to close this for a little bit. After the bulletin board is closed, it can be restored within 30 days, but after 30 days, a new one has to be created and the old one cannot be restored, okay? So if you do close it for whatever reason, within 30 days, you could open it back up. Everything will be there. After 30 days, everything will be deleted. So again, just want to show you some more of these, where I think this is also really important to show where, the questions that people get asked is, where can I see the bulletin board? How can I see it? And these are the ways: the entry point from artist profile, in your inbox. So in user's inbox, you will get a notification that will say, Leve just posted to her bulletin board. So you will see that. You will also, and then you can click on the icon, the bulletin board will pop up. You can also choose different tracks. So artists can share posts, but they have to save the post from others first, which I also think is really important. And also about deleting, right? So in case you share something and you say, oh my God, what? You can delete bulletin boards in 3 minutes after you send them. So if you send something and you want to delete it, you only have 3 minutes. And then again, you can only share up to 3 bulletin boards. So no spamming fans, only 3 bulletin boards a day, which I'm sure is plenty for the majority of you. So here are some other things you can do. Write the message. It shows you when it's shared successfully. You see the inbox messaging. And then again, you will also, users, if you follow the artist or follow the bulletin board, you will get an in-app push after the artist shares that this is available. So just wanted to show us up a couple showcases and some artists that are, I think doing this really well. If you want to check some of these artists out. And so, Cat's Eye is a great example. I think I'm going to go through a couple case studies very quickly, but basically take notes. These are the artists. If you want to see bulletin board and someone doing it well, here are some of the artists. So Cat's Eye, they have just been posting regularly. I think this is an amazing use of a top fan, driven community, sharing a lot of posts from different artists. They've been really, really leaning in here. So if you want to see how they've been doing it, please take a look at this. Other one is 2 Chainz. 2 Chainz has really grown his bulletin board pretty quickly. And also his bulletin board has really helped raise his follower count as well. But the thing that's really cool about 2 Chainz and his engagement, a lot of it he's just reposting from his page, but he's also tapping into things that maybe he wouldn't want to put on his actual FYP or actually live in a feed, but maybe it's commenting on things or providing commentary on something. So I think take a look at 2 Chainz, and then also take a look at Leve. All three besides Cat's Eye, Leve and 2 Chainz are both indie artists. I think really great to see Leve, who launched her bulletin board Lover's Lane on during album release week. And she gained over 1 million followers during release week. And we really think a lot of it has to do with Bulletin Board and the fact that when you sign up or you follow Bulletin Board, you get an automatic profile follow. It was also really cute because her team she was following a lot of fans back. And there was a lot of videos being surfaced from her fan community with videos being like, oh my God, Leve followed me back on Bulletin Board. Like that is the kind of community and kind of the that you're looking for that kind of follow through. So if they're following you, make sure you hit that follow button back as well. And then one other one I would think that you guys should all check out is Devin Gabriella. She is opening for Somber currently on tour. She's extremely leaned in on TikTok. I want you to take a look at her and her bulletin board. She is posting every single day. She does this by herself. She does not have a team. So if you were looking for someone, if you were that person and you're like, well, it's easy for Leve, she has all of these people, or she's Leve, and or that's Cat's Eye. I want you to see someone who is doing this every day, and I think doing it so incredibly well. Awesome. Cool. So with that, I do want to go to really quickly. Again, I will be sending this bulletin board deck out so you can have access to this as well. But lastly, I just want to click on very quickly. I just want to mention a few things. One is TikTok charts. We have 2 charts. They're harder to find right now, but we're working on that. So you're going to start seeing charts pop up globally in different areas on TikTok. They will also be in TikTok for artists. When you start to see, we're starting to beta test. So if you are part of the beta test, you might already be seeing charts popping up in different areas on TikTok. The thing that's really cool about this new version of charts is you're able to see global charts. So right now, you only see your localized chart, but in the future, you'll be able to click on and do a drop down and see other territories. So, if you have a big fan base in other countries and you want to see how your song is doing, and if you hit the charts, you'll be able to take a look at that. But we do have 2 charts. One is a weekly top 50 that's looking at trending. It's a formula. It's looking at a bunch of different things, creates, likes, shares, reposts. And then we have our viral 50. And this is looking for day over day change. So it's looking for you to go from 50 creates to 1,000 creates to 2,000 creates. If you're just staying steady at like 100 a day, which is amazing, you're not going to pop up on the viral chart. It's looking for that day over day change. It's looking to show you what are people like using right now, like yesterday, and then today, now there's 50,000 more people creating to this sound. So it's really giving you that day over day change. And then finally, just because, and I will share this with you all, but I did just want to mention TikTok Shop. For any of you artists that have a Shopify and you're selling merch, you should really consider setting up your TikTok Shop. This is a really great way to sell directly to your fans. This is a great way to also make some really passive income. One of my #1 selling artists of 2025 was Alexander K. Indie artist, was signed to TuneCore, now on BMG. My #2 selling account on TikTok Shop is Fat Beats, which is an indie label that sells a lot of catalog, old Mac Miller, old Wiz Khalifa, things like that. So TikTok Shop, I think this is an amazing way for you to connect directly with your fans, make some passive income, and sell directly in TikTok. So again, we'll send this out. You can take a look at some great examples of artists, whether it's, you sitting down and pushing a vinyl or you have new merch. Alexandra K, when she's on tour, she just sells from her hotel room. She'll go live and she'll just sell her merch on her live. So if you're an artist that goes live often, you should really take advantage of selling merch during your live. And then finally, we'll send this, but just a few things that I get asked so pretty regularly. How many times a week should I post? Minimum 3 to 4 times. Honestly, if you're in release week, it's every day. My analogy for TikTok is like the gym. If you go to the gym 2 or 3 times a week, you're really just maintaining. To see results, you really need to be posting, 5, 6, 7 times. Same thing with TikTok. You really need to kind of see, you need to see those posts. How early should I tease my release? That's completely up to you, but I do think teasing your release is extremely important. I like to say, 3 to 6 weeks. Some people go longer. I think the more you can tease and test things out with your fans, the more you can see if they're into it, if there's certain parts of the sound that they like more. This is probably the number one in my inbox operational issues that I get. Why is my sound muted? Your video cannot be over 60 seconds. We have a rule on TikTok that music audio can only be 60 seconds. That's because of publishers and master agreements. That is not currently going to change. If your video is over 60 seconds and you deliver the official sound and it connects, that video is going to become muted. So please, 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 if you're using official sounds or you're using even UGC sound that is going to be an official sound and it's over a minute, just know that you are taking the chance of your sound being muted. There's nothing we can do about it. 60 seconds is the max. That's why you can't pull up full music videos and things like that. You can get around it with singing. So that's why you can see live clips and people singing longer than 60 seconds. As long as you are not connecting an official sound, you can get away with it. Why can't I use my sounds? I used to be able to use my sound, but now I can't. I go on and none of my sounds are available. Somehow you might have switched yourself to a business account. If you cannot use any of your sounds, that is the number one thing. Artists need to be set up as a personal account. If you are set up as a business account, you only have access to the commercial music library, meaning your songs will not be available. How do my songs get editorial support? This is something that Symphonic does for you on your behalf, so don't worry about it. That's taken care of by them. So they are pitching your songs regularly. And then finally, I posted
Just
a
a quick
TikTok
add
shop
to
link.
that one though, Jess, on that last one,
Yeah.
like editorial support is tough to come by. There's a whole lot of
Yes.
music on TikTok and a whole lot of creates happening there. And so, there is, no set number, but there is a threshold of creates that you want to make sure you're getting at before you're expecting that sort of editorial support.
Yeah, I'll
Um,
throw that out there. I mean, at this point, I used to say, you needed a minimum of 1,000 creates to even be considered. And I would say that's pretty true. And I would say that number has gone up at this point. Obviously, there are some new music sounds and some bigger artists that will get posted without those creates. But a lot of times the artists are already teasing. We see UGC creates. And honestly, at this point, I'm looking for like 5 to 10,000 creates before the official sound was released to even consider for editorial support, because we're getting so many pitches at this point. So it just kind of helps set expectation. And then finally, I posted a TikTok shop link, but my music is not available. Reach out to Symphonic. They have to whitelist your music if you are using TikTok shop. So anyway, that is it. I know I want to leave a couple minutes, or I can stay on longer for those of you that want to stay on.
You've been fantastic. Thank you
But I
so
would
much.
love
This
to
is
be
all
able to get
great
to some
stuff.
questions.
Yeah. Yeah, a couple that I saw come up a handful of times. Must have had song delivered to be an artist page and to get a check with a music tab. So you have to have official content delivered to TikTok through your distributor for that to happen. Yes, that's the case. Any
Yes, and
connection?
an
Go
official
ahead.
song delivered to DSP, not just to TikTok, but you
Has to be
need to have an
DSPs.
official song that's already live on Apple or Spotify.
I'm going to guess if most of you are Symphonic clients that you've probably already got that in place. That's what you'd use us for anyway. So if you're asking that question, it's a weird one. But you should have music delivered both places in order to get an artist account. If they have an artist account, but they're not seeing artist under their name, is there a step that maybe they needed to take in TikTok for artists or something else that needs to happen? They see the
I
music
don't know.
tab, it doesn't
If
see
you have
artists.
the music tab, but you're missing the artist tag, you can reach out to Symphonic. I don't know. We've been seeing some of this pop up.
Yeah.
I think it can be, they're always testing things too. So I think sometimes they test things. So if you have all the other things, but but you just don't have that artist tab, you are good to go. There might just be some bug things that are looking. Obviously, you can reach out to Symphonic but if you have everything else and you are good to go, you're just missing that artist tag. I will try to dig in to see, but we are a lot of times testing things on the back end. One of the things that we've been testing is removing. I've been getting a lot of inbound right now. You can't, if you don't have your Instagram and things already linked in your profile, right now you're not able to link those because we're playing around with the profile and we're trying to see right now there's so many things on the profile. So we're trying to maybe, are we going to remove that section? So there are those things that you'll see us play around with from time to time.
But the functionality of an artist account, as long as you have a music tab, you are an artist account. The user
Correct.
experience that people are doing there is looking for that tab, looking for the functionality. All that is in
Correct.
there if you've got the tab.
The
So
music tab is the #1 key indicator.
any connection between having an artist tab and getting verification? Does it help you
No.
out? None at
There
all.
is no connection at all, completely different. Verification is hard on this platform. I will tell you, we are very much, it's something that I have brought up for, into Q4 for us to really review our verification formula because I don't know if it has been, but I will tell you guys as indie artists, the #1 reason why we get denied, and I say we as I represent you all, is because of a press, and that's something that we're really looking into, and that's something I'm really calling out as potentially reviewing as things have changed over the years. And artists, I
Yeah.
think press is less and less. Artists are having amazing success, but those outlets are just not there anymore. So I know it's been a very tough process for some of you out there, but just know I am very much fighting to have this process reviewed. So hopefully in 2026, we'll have a better answer for you. But I did just want to let you know, for a lot of indie artists, the reason why you're denied is because you don't have the press that we need. And that's just outdated at this point.
I have a couple other questions, but I want to make sure that we do not pass by that without making a big spotlight on it. Jess is in the trenches for you. And that's the thing, is like a lot of the questions that we get and a lot of the conversations that we have with folks is like, that process is BS. That's not relevant anymore. That doesn't really apply to the way that things are circulated nowadays. Know that they're aware of it from time to time.
Yeah.
It's not going to be on everything, not going to be agreed with on every bit that you're looking for, right? But something like that, Jess is aware, and the
Yeah.
platform's aware, and they're fighting the fight to maybe not have that be such a weighted restriction on verification.
Yeah, and I think it's time. I definitely
Yeah.
think it's time as things have very much changed. And again, I think I saw someone put this in the chat. People can get verified with 0 followers and one, but like that, those are the things that don't matter. A follower count, it's really looking for some of these other indicators. So I did just want to say, it's not because you don't have enough followers. It's not because, you don't have enough listeners on Spotify. Like that is not it for the #1 thing for most artists, and especially if you're verified on other accounts. The #1 reason on TikTok is usually
Yeah.
press.
Yeah, it's that marketing drivers conversation, right? And for TikTok, the emphasis is still press, and there's
Yeah.
other things that are certainly important, but that press one's there. All right, a couple really, really quick ones to bounce it to. There's a question about if I've got my single through CD Baby and it wasn't on TikTok, how do I get it there? If you're with us now, you'd want to move that catalog over and we can take care of it. If it's still on CD Baby, we can't really help, but I'm sure there is an explanation in their back end if you're keeping catalog over there on how to make sure things get delivered to TikTok. I would look through their knowledge base for that one. Last couple here. Is there anything on the roadmap for pre-save on singles rather than albums and EPs? And in that pre-save experience, well, let's answer that one first. Any plan on the roadmap for singles rather than the others?
No, we are not. That is not on the roadmap. We link, if you can basically do a countdown on Spotify, then that's when we will be doing. Right now, you can't do countdown pre-saves for Spotify, so that's where we're linking to. So that's why you can't. It's not available on TikTok. So I do think once it's available on these other platforms, it might be something we look into. But right now, not on the roadmap. But because again, we're using the back end on Spotify and Apple for these.
And similarly, and I think under the answer to this one, there was a question on, can there be multiple platforms that are added into that pre-save experience there? Once a user picks their preferred platform, that's the one that's always going to show up when they click pre-save within TikTok, right?
Correct.
If I'm a Spotify preferred user regularly, once I've done it once, until I maybe, is there a way to change that in your
Yes, you
experience?
can change it at any point
The user
yeah, you can change it at any point in your profile. But like for me, I hooked up to Spotify, so now it just goes through all of them. Now let's just say I'm a SoundCloud, I'm a SoundCloud user, previous SoundCloud worker. So, we got to shout them out.
Gotta shout
But,
them out.
if I was a SoundCloud user, obviously the pre-save feature is not going to work for me from an album and DSP. So it will then also ask me to connect Apple and Spotify. So you'll be able to save the singles. So when you see, it's like there's two save options on TikTok. One is saving the sound that's already available in these DSPs, saving it to your DSP library. And then the second one is saving the pre-save album or EP. So two different things. And obviously you can't do pre-saves on, or we don't have it set up for YouTube Music or on SoundCloud. It's only set up for Apple and Spotify for pre-save. But the regular DSP sound that's already released, adding it to your library, that can happen at any of the DSPs.
Okay.
Confusing.
Album, pre-save, and EP only available Spotify and Apple. Existing released songs saved to your library across a number of DSPs.
Correct.
That's terrific. DSP, for the question I got in there, is digital service provider, digital streaming provider. That's a term you guys should put into your regular lexicon here if you're going to be doing stuff. And then the last one, let's see. Do they get notified if their song lands on a TikTok chart, or is that something that they've just got to keep an eye on the charts for?
So it doesn't. I would recommend, this is also a great thing to add into the survey. These are great things that I've all mentioned. I think it would be really great if you got notified on also being added into a playlist. I think that would also be a great notification that currently we don't offer. So I think those would be two really great things to add in there if you get added, but also again, these charts will be in TikTok for artists and very visible in the very near future. So it will be very easy for you to check. We only show the top 50. So it will be and also right now charts are hard to find in the app, but it will become much more visible in the very near future on official sounds. You'll see a chart button next to things. So right now you only see charts if a song is charting, but that is going to change. So it will be something that will be much easier for you to see coming up.
And that, like editorial support, is a hard bar to get over. There's a lot of creates and a lot of views and a lot of attention needs to be paid before you're charting. So
yeah, and I will say we are not a DSP. Let me also set that for editorial support. We are not a DSP. Our playlists are not set up like that. We are very much a content platform. We are looking for sounds that people are using. Yes, we have new music. That is still a massive program for us, but you're not coming to TikTok editorial and seeing hundreds of playlists. I mean, we have, I would say 5 that are really impactful, 10 that really move the needle. Other than that, that is not what we are really, and that's not how, think about you as a user. That's not how you're using TikTok. People aren't coming to TikTok looking for our, R&B playlist. Like that is not what the discovery is. The discovery is coming from you all on this platform, letting people know about your sound and things like that, and using these new features, so really take advantage of bulletin board, you guys. Like that's one thing I have to say. Like, I think this is going to be a great feature for you all that are building or have built these like really solid fan bases. 2026 is going to be the year of fans and fandom. You will hear the industry talking about this. So I think the more that you can build this, that's what everyone's looking for. You're looking for those label deals, those kinds of things. You can show them that you've built this amazing leaned in fandom community on TikTok under, so it's something to really take advantage of. I know it's another thing to manage. I know it's another thing to post to. So if that's something that feels overwhelming to you, I get it. But if you're someone that can really lean in here or have great things going on, you're in release mode or on touring, definitely take advantage of this feature. It's just been amazing what I've seen it do even for established artists. So again, just growing following on TikTok and things like that. It's just such an easy win. They click follow on the bulletin board, you get an automatic follow on your profile. So
I can't imagine a better closure than that. So I'm going to end the questions there. That was a great end cap on that presentation. Thank you so much for all that detail. As we said, this one's going to be available to anyone that RSVP'd to the event for 48 hours. Unfortunately, a lot of this stuff is just industry side, and we're lucky we're getting to see it and share it. It's not something that we can put out in the world and have out there cached for in perpetuity. So it'll be there for 48 hours starting Monday for anybody that was here, or if you RSVP'd and couldn't make it. It'll be there for you to see for just those 48 hours, but watch it because it's going to be dead by the end of Tuesday. Thank you so much for taking the time. We'll look forward to another one of these in 6 months and a year when there's even more to talk about if you've got the time again. But until then, be really well.
Thank you guys so much.
It's a ton. Talk soon. Bye, y'all.